So how efficient is a boil or a cooker tap particularly to run?
Well, this is the thing. I think people think that because it's on all day, it's always boiling in the tank, and therefore the energy cost is going to be ridiculous. But actually, again, this is where education comes into it, because when you look at how the tank actually works, it's really, really clever. So comparing it to the kettle, every single time you're boiling a kettle, on average, it's costing the customer between 10 and 15 pence every single time they're boiling that kettle, right? Now, with a cooker, the tank, as I say, is pressurized, so it stores water at 110 degrees. But what that tank is basically a big thermos flask. So it's really, really well insulated. So once the water reaches 110 degrees inside that tank, that insulation maintains all of that heat inside, which therefore requires less energy and less cost to maintain it. So cost-wise, it is only going to cost you 3 pence per day to run a cooker. So that's 3 pence per day against 10 to 15 pence on average every time you're boiling a kettle. So again, looking at the alternatives, it's the most economical system on the market. But again, it comes down to the technology. And that technology, again, as I say, is patented. So there's no other product on the market that will be able to deliver at 100, but also is going to be as efficient as the cooker.
So is that 3 pence per day under just normal use?
Yes. Yeah. So it's 3 pence per day. Yeah.
Wow, that's really really cheap.
Yeah, that's impressive. And how often when you boil a kettle, do you end up boiling it 2 or even 3 times? Because you put it on to boil, you'll go away, the TV's on or something, you'll be chatting to somebody, you'll come back, and it will have boiled about 3 or 4 minutes ago. So you boil it again.
Exactly.
And sometimes even 3 times. Yeah.
And on top of that, not only are you boiling a kettle 2, maybe even sometimes 3 times for 1 cup of tea, does anybody ever fill 1 mug of water, pour that into the kettle just to heat up as much boiling water that you need for that cup of tea? You're going to fill the kettle up, obviously heating that water up unnecessarily, so it's going to cost more energy, take more time, and then the next time you go and use the kettle, whether you're doing a pot of pasta for dinner, for example, you're going to empty the kettle, wasting that water, and then refill it again. So actually, this is where people, I think, me having it at home, this is the point I was making, me having it at home and realizing actually the way that I was living before using a kettle compared to the cooker, it made me realize how incredible the cooker is. So yeah, I think there's so many benefits. It's simply the convenience of boiling water straight from your tap instantly, not having to wait that 5-6 minutes for the kettle to boil. You're talking about the energy efficiency, cost efficiency, so much cheaper than the kettle, so it will pay itself off over time. You're talking about the water efficiency, the safety. It's like when you take a step back and look at all of the advantages, why would anybody not have one?
Yeah,
and I think this is why you guys just put it in a standard. It's like the customers, you're having one, you need one. It is as simple as that.
We do tell customers, out of everything that you want to, if they want to pull the price of their kitchen down, we just say to them, look, out of everything you want to compromise on, don't let it be the boil tap, because it does change the way that you do everything in the kitchen. So filling up the pans, and even like you said, I've done everything from sterilizing babies' bottles with it to doing the cooking, mopping the floor, all of those things. I've used it for, and it's just instant. It's there, and you take it for granted. And if you go to somebody's house who has a kettle, it's just so funny, because you're like,
prehistoric.
oh my God, the kettle to boil, and then they forget that it's boiled, and they wait, and just like, come on, get on with it. So yeah, all of those things. It does totally change the way you do things.